Starting Monday's final round of the Deutsche Bank Championship, 6 back of the lead. Rory McIlroy completes his greatest comeback of his career on the PGA Tour to win the Deutsche Bank Championship. A full recap of McIlroy's 12th career PGA Tour win next on Golf Central.
Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
Welcome into Golf Central. Ryan Burr along with Brandel Chambly and David Duval. Rory McIlroy began the week wondering what putting stroke he would even use. He ends the week hoisting a trophy on the PGA Tour for the 12th time.
Well, we've spent the entire year talking about the big three, the big four, the big five, and certainly it's interesting to have parity at the top. But what is proven to draw people in unprecedented numbers to the TV are dominating stars. And when you start talking about rhythm and the power and touching around and on the greens, it's the reason we are all compelled to watch Tiger Woods. We've been compelled to watch Phil Mickelson. Rory McIlroy had that potential, but he certainly shuffled off of the tops of leaderboards because of his lack of putting skills and proficiencies. And we saw that this week. It came back, and it's a pleasure to watch somebody play the type of golf that Rory McIlroy played this week.
Well, that's a perfect word to use, pleasure, to see performance like that. We sat here at the beginning of the week talking about the big three, big four, big five, maybe big six even. And I said that Rory McIlroy is in the process of possibly putting himself out of that conversation. Well, lo and behold, what does he do? Makes a few adjustments this week and goes out and does what he is capable of doing and making it look easy, enjoyable, beautiful, fluid, soft. I mean, you name the adjective. It's a joy to watch him play when he plays like this, and he does have that dominating capability that's been lacking in golf for 5, 6, 7 years.
And with the victory, Rory McIlroy jumps over Jordan Spieth to 3rd in the world. Let's show you how he got it done at TPC Boston. Tee times moved up because of impending weather that could be moving in, but nothing would slow down McIlroy. 4 feet for birdie. He's 10 under and just getting started. Now at the 4th, the drivable par 4.
Yes, he drove it in the left bunker. Ordinarily, Rory is not one of the better bunker players, but he had a beautiful day today out of the sand. Gorgeous shot there after being short-sighted with his drive, and he was 2 under par through 4 holes.
11 under, but still 4 back. Paul Casey started with a 3-shot lead. Here he is at the 2nd.
Yeah, pitching onto the green after missing with his 3rd. Really stubs it into that upslope there, leaves it well short, would make a bogey, dropping back to 14 under par.
Casey's problems would continue at the 5th.
Yes, he was missing fairways, playing a little bit more conservative golf, taking longer to hit shots, and coming up short on putts. 2 over par through the first 5 holes.
And while Casey was struggling, McIlroy was on fire.
Now, you said he's not always the best out of the bunker, so he looks incredible right now. Beautiful shot on the 4th, amazing shot here on the 7th, would make birdie, moving to 12 under par, just a shot back.
Just a shot back, looking for more at 8.
In total control of his distances with his irons, which got him pin high. And there that putter is again, 4 under par through the first 8 holes. And he was not done by a long shot.
Oh, he's tied for the lead at that point. Now some ball striking.
Yeah, right out of a sand-filled divot, getting down straight on top of that ball. Executing it beautifully just to the left and below the hole, controlling it downwind, facing a 15-footer. Look at this, having to dig it out from the back of this bunker. Get the ball first, coming in real steep. That's how you execute when you drive it into a sand-filled bunker.
Now putting for birdie in the lead.
I like how you call it a bunker.
That was a huge one.
Exactly right. And I guess we're going to call that an up and down from the sand then, because it was a beautiful putt. And 6 under par through the first 12 holes.
To 17.
Just trying to play safe off the tee here, get it out and play. Actually, a very wide landing area off the 17th tee if you're hitting an iron. Some 40 yards. Gets this one cooking a little bit too much to the left. Wind exacerbating the curve of the ball.
Now putting to save.
And the golf course got quite a bit more difficult in the last hour as the blustery winds came up, causing a lot of confusion. and taking one stroke away from Rory McIlroy.
So the lead is 1, Casey at 16.
With really an incredible shot. It was hard to see from that angle, but the grass is all trampled down, laying all which ways. The players have been walking there. The bags have been laid there. Incredibly executed pitch shot there.
And Casey remains 1 shot back. McIlroy now at 18, par 5. This is a greenside bunker.
And he averages right at 10 feet out of the bunkers, which is not amongst the best on the PGA Tour. But this day, this week, it was a different Rory McIlroy out of the bunkers. Indeed, everywhere. And of course, all of that talent on full display today.
And that would leave him that, which he would make 25 birdies and eagles this week, most of any player in the field. Most PGA Tour wins of any European player since World War II. Casey still a chance at 18.
A long shot here across the green, up and over the slope, swinging to his left, just carrying much too much speed as it blazes by the whole 15 feet.
And Paul Casey remains with 1 PGA Tour win. Rory McIlroy now jumps to 12. Only Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson had more PGA Tour victories in the last 30 years before the age of 28 than now Rory McIlroy. It's a 2-shot win. He wins the Deutsche Bank Championship and spoke with our Steve Burkowski.
From 4 over par through 3 holes in his first round of the winner's circle when it was all said and done, what changed from that slow start to where you are right now?
I'm not too sure. Obviously, I started to putt the ball a lot better, and I got a lot of confidence from that. Not even on the first day. I mean, I felt like mentally I was good on the first day not to let that run get away from me. Got it back to even par, which I thought was a good effort. But then on Saturday, made a slight tweak to my putting grip, and then just went from there. You know, I started to see putts go in the hole. I got confidence, and I sort of rode that momentum for the last couple of days.
You talked about the changes you were going to make to the putting, sort of addressing everything across the board. How surprised are you that you've seen results this quickly in?
Yeah, I am. Honestly, I am surprised. I thought it was going to take longer. I mean, it's still a work in progress. Like, this definitely isn't the finished article. The finished article would be continuing to do this each and every week that I play. You know, that's where I want to be. That's where I feel like I can be. So. It's a great step in the right direction. It's a huge step in the right direction, and hopefully this feeling that I have, I can continue to feel on the greens going forward.
Nearly 16 months since your last win on the PGA Tour. What were the struggles, maybe mentally, to get back to where you are here today?
Yeah, I mean, my last win was 16 months ago on the PGA Tour, but I won a couple of times overseas. So, you know, I won in Ireland in May. I won in Dubai last November. So I've had wins, but obviously probably none of them as big as this today. So you're really happy to get back into the winner's circle, here stateside, and it can only give me confidence going forward. And now I've got a real chance to win the FedEx Cup, and that's the next goal.
Rory, congratulations. Well done.
Thanks, Steve.
Most wins before the age of 28 on the PGA Tour the last 30 years. David, this is a pretty good list.
It is a good list. Look at that one player on there. just happened to win again today. Oh, there I am. It is Sammy on there.
So Tiger 39, Phil 14. Rory passes David today with his victory at the Deutsche Bank, but still an incredible accomplishment. Brandel, as McIlroy able to really find all parts of his game.
He's done so much at such a young age, as just documented there in that statistic, and all of that while he's been pretty average on the greens. But I think his putting stroke had pretty much decayed to the point where he needed to make some changes. We'd seen him change to left-hand low earlier in the year, then back to conventional, and then if you were watching the first round, well, he had a different grip altogether, something we hadn't seen. The index finger on his left hand was down the shaft. Well documented that he had changed putting coaches, changed putting philosophies, but in the first round it didn't really catch. He putted pretty poorly. He was 54th in strokes gained putting, so it got him thinking again. So he went back to the drawing board, and then after his second round, he spoke to those changes.
Putted really, really nicely today. I actually made a little bit of a tweak to my grip this morning, which helped, trying to get a little bit more into my fingers and just get a bit more feel into it. So they keep saying it's a work in progress, but we're just trying to make everything simpler. There was a lot of moving parts in my putting stroke, and just trying to simplify it as much as I possibly can. So I could get up into specifics about hinging it on the way back and de-lofting it and then holding it on the way through. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, but just really trying to simplify the motion as much as I can and get it going on a sort of good arc and trying to keep the putter face square at impact. That's basically, if you can do that, you're going to have a good chance to hole some putts.
Well, that's true enough. There was a lot of stuff going on, mostly none of it good. But beginning with the second round, when he had his best putting round, going back to Wells Fargo last year when he won, again, there you see the changes. The softness in his hands is apparent. The thumbs are straight down the shaft. You can tell that it's more in his fingers to the right hand. And then speaking to the arc of the stroke, you could certainly tell that today. This is at the 9th hole, and this putt is left to right, but still, so it would be skewed somewhat. You can tell that the putter head is arcing to the inside on the way back and certainly to the inside on the way through. This is a departure from what he's been doing for upwards of a couple of years, where he's been dragging the putter down the line. And you put these two together, he has not led the PGA Tour in driving distance this year. He had never, ever, in 114 events on the PGA Tour, led in driving distance and led in a prominent putting statistic. Not only did he lead in putts per green in regulation, he had the fewest putts of anybody in the field this week. Put that in consideration. At the Irish Open, he won that event, and he had 127 putts. He was 58th in the field. He went from being one of the struggling putters to one of the best. And David, when he's putting well and when he's driving well, he is a tough combo. And you think you figured out why he drove the ball so much better this week.
Well, we've sat here and talked for upwards of 12, 15, 18 months about one of the little things, trouble he gets into, which is kind of a little bit of a flattening or hitch at the top of his swing, especially with the 3-wood and driver. And it was a noticeable change this week that he started getting it that much more back on top of the plane. If you go and look at some of his approach shots late in the round today, here he is on 13. Watch this going back. Now watch this club, how steep it is, coming right back down on top. And look at where that club face is. That's removing the excess rotation of the club face. Completely controlled swing, but you can see how he took it back and came right back down on top of the plane. He doesn't always do that with the 3-wood and the driver, but you move ahead to the very next tee shot on 14. 3-wood, slightly skewed angle here, but you can see the same kind of thing going back, coming straight back down on top of the plane. And that gives him, similar to a putting stroke, it gives him that little bit of extra speed, that little bit of freedom, because he's not dragging at all from the top of his backswing down through the ball. He's not flattening it at all here. Here he is driving on 15 with a driver. Same thing, full speed, though. You can see it come straight back down on top of the plane, hitting a low driving, almost stinger-type driver out there just into the left edge of the fairway. If you move forward to 18, when he knows if he makes birdie, he could nearly sew it up. Well, watch this, folks. Just absolute vintage Rory McIlroy right there, firing it. Anytime you see a player bend over and pick up the tee, well, you know they succeeded. And I think that getting rid of that little bit of drop, raise the handle, whatever you want to call it, where he creates where it necessitates face rotation. That's the trouble he's had over the last 16, 18 months. And it might go back, let's not forget, it might go back to that ankle injury that might have caused some of that to creep in. It seems to be gone, and watch out, golf world.
So many times we react to the moment, and the moment is McIlroy looks unbeatable, especially what he did on Monday, overcoming the field and just kind of walking to this victory. How ready are you to say Rory is back?
Well, like I said, he's led one time this year in driving distance off of the tee, and it was today. He did that 3 times last year in the World of Golf. He won all 3 of those events. Prior to that, in 2013, he was a dominant driver off the tee. He won 3 in a row. He was leading in greens and regulation. So that part of his game, to David's point, is back. The one part that was holding him back, and again, we have talked about this ad nauseum. None of us buy into this dragging the putter head down the line, trying to keep the putter face square. None of us. It takes too much tension to do that. It is too hard to do that. This is the first time I've ever seen Rory McIlroy arc the putter head going back and through, and it is so much easier to do that, and it is so much easier to have the tension removed from your arms and hands to do that. It is scary to think what Rory could do if he could go forward and putt like a Jordan Spieth or a Tiger Woods, given his ability from tee to green, well, David.
Week in, week out, he's the best hitter of the golf ball, and if he fixes the long clubs and gets it back on top of the plane like we've talked about ad nauseum, just like his putting stroke, he is virtually unbeatable, especially if he gets that flow. And it was such a beautiful highlight you had there where you could see that just that small little arc. You could see the toe kind of staying square to the arc line. You see it passing the heel as he went through. That softness and getting the ball rolling, the confidence will build just like that for Rory. As quickly as it went away, it's going to build like that.
Now, the last time he won the Deutsche Bank Championship, he won the BMW the next week. So we'll see if McIlroy can duplicate that incredible feat that he was able to pull off one other time in his career. When we come back, we'll get much more from Rory McIlroy, who ties the largest 54-hole comeback in FedEx Cup playoff history. And we'll also check in with the 70 that advanced to the BMW. That would include Jason Day and Jordan Spieth as we continue on Golf Central.
Golf Central is brought to you by Titleist, the #1 ball at the Deutsche Bank Championship. Titleist, the #1 ball in golf. Golf Now, millions of tee times, free GPS, and more. Download today.